Welcome to DC.
And here it comes. Swing and a miss. And a World Series Game 7 winning Curly W is in the books.
Dagger! It's 1974. The Washington Capitals are the 2018 Stanley Cup champions.
Don't like that. I like that.
You gotta like that, right?
Despite all this, despite the churn, my approval ratings keep going up.
We are ready to give our 500% support back to this franchise, back to this city, back to this team after Snyder leaves. And then this is the poo-poo you put on the field.
For the very first time, the Washington Mystics are WNBA champions.
The Washington Commanders select Jaden Daniels.
I'm going to support fake teams that can't ruin my life.
Did you call bank? I call game.
Thank you. Sorry to keep you waiting. Complicated business.
Oh, FP, this was a good week to be a Commanders fan. I mean, we knew that they had to go out there and get a win, and that is what they did in absolutely dominating fashion. They absolutely mauled the Titans. Anybody who is even a passive fan of this team, this is what they had to do. They did it. It was impressive. And I got to start with a confession, FP. I said I would never ever return. I would never return to FedEx Field. And it's funny because on local radio there was this discussion about, saying I'm never going back to this place or that place. Technically speaking, I didn't go back to FedEx Field because it's no longer that part of Raleigh, John, Maryland is no longer part of Raleigh, John. Is no longer FedEx Field. It's the stadium at Northwest or the Northwest Field or whatever.
Northwest Stadium Field.
Whatever. I had a buddy of mine who called up and said, I got a couple tickets. They're lower bowl corner by the players' entrance. Do you want to go? This was about a month and a half ago. So right like at the fever pitch of Hail Marys and everything else. And I stupidly said, without thinking twice, yeah, let's do it. Let's go.
I can't blame you.
And then I watched them drop 3 in a row. And then he called on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving. He's like, we got these tickets, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, it's going to be cold, right? I was like, yeah. He's like, we're going still, right? I'm like, yeah, we're going. But I got to tell you, it was an awesome experience. And then not just because the game was basically over in the first quarter and everyone could relax. It was the exact opposite of what I remember. I didn't take a beer bath. I didn't get into any fights with people wearing Cowboys jerseys or rando paraphernalia from other teams around the league. I didn't have anyone shouting at me or screaming at me to do anything except sit down every once in a while. That not to get off topic here too much because
the lower bowl is weird. You can't be rowdy.
Why do we sell seats in the lower bowl? Because there's no sitting.
It's all
standing. Like I did 3 hours of standing perfectly still and cheering, and it was great. But I got to tell you, man, I don't know if I'm rushing to go back, but I had a great time. The parking was easy. The drive in was easy. The drive out a little bit annoying, but it's to be expected when you got 60,000 people leaving a spot. Yeah. But there was no sewage that fell on top of me. There was no drunken rowdiness. There was no fighting. Just a bunch of people that were truly excited to watch the team. A little bit of Titans stuff here and there, but nothing significant. The game was legitimately over in the first 7-8 minutes. I mean, you go down, you score on your first 3 possessions in the first quarter, and then you add a couple more in the second quarter. What more could you ask for as a fan, right? Like you can't guarantee the win, but man, like this was the one game remaining, and we discussed this last week. Like there was no path to the playoffs without beating the Titans. It just didn't exist.
This was the make or break.
They had to have it. Absolutely had to have it because there's no path to 10 wins without this win. And they got it, and they got it in convincing fashion. So I watched it in person, kind of threw me off because I couldn't, I wasn't consuming all the NFL that I typically would. But it was great to be there. It was a great experience. And I would consider going back. It's too late in the season for me. So if I ever go back to that stadium, it's going to have to be in the spring.
Halloween or sooner.
Sorry, in the exactly. Halloween or sooner. But I wasn't expecting to enjoy it. I enjoyed it. It was the opposite of what I was expecting. I was really pleasantly surprised. And the franchise deserves a lot of credit for that. The game day experience was great. The tailgates were great.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the first things Harris said he was going to take care of was, I mean, you saw they got rid of the ugly FedEx colors at the top of the stadium. So visually it's better.
Yes.
Apparently the PA system is better. Hearing the refs is easier. The sound guy is better. The videography is better.
I'll tell you.
I'm saying it's great.
I'll tell you. DC sports have a really bad habit, all of them. If you've been to a Wizards game, a little bit less with the Caps, and the Nats, I think with baseball, you expect it. But with basketball, with the Wizards team in particular, and definitely with the football team, every break in action, every like TV timeout, there's never a moment of silence.
Yeah.
In the state, it's constant. It's, and I get it. The sponsors are sponsoring all these breaks, and they want to show you the alumni of the game. Fred Smoot was there. They want to do the legend of the game. Some other guy was there. Yeah. Like, there's all this stuff happening. The PA system did crap out in the fourth quarter, and like 2 minutes into the fourth quarter, I looked to the boys I was at the game with, and I was like, "Do you realize that we haven't heard any announcements in like 10 minutes, and it's been amazing? Like, we can hear, like, you can talk to each other, without having to scream at each other." And everyone else kind of picked up on it. It was really nice. PA system didn't get resolved, or the issue didn't get resolved until about 2 minutes left in the game. So, like, that's my one critique. If anyone out there from Commanders Land is listening, just don't talk so much. Just let us.
There's a lot of learning that everybody in the organization needs to do that comes with putting a winning product on the field.
Sure.
Right? So, like, even JP and B Mitch are talking about this on the radio. They're doing the wave while the offense is on the field. And typically in seasons past, you do the wave, you do whatever you have to do to entertain yourselves because the product on the field is complete crap.
Yes.
Right. And that's why the PA is constantly going on and they're in the habit of distracting you from the product on the field. But now that the product on the field, you don't want to be distracted from it.
That's actually a great point. I mean, I wish they would do less of that, right? Because like you have informed fans in this, like we know what we're looking at, right? Like we understand like a defense thing here and there, or an occasional announcement.
You have it, but you still have to slowly reverse 25 years of crap product, and then you'll get the fan base that teaches the rest of the fan base, like, quiet on offense, louder on defense. Pay attention to this. This is when we do the wave. We're going to shout this during the anthem.
We participated in the wave, being in the lower bowl.
The wave is very fun.
It made it like good of 4 or 5 loops. Yeah. I mean, I didn't expect it to last that long. And again, like, they'll figure that out. But like, that's a substantive change the team could make for the next home game. Is just lessen the amount of PA announcements. Like,
that's something that's going to come. Like when we say winning fixes everything, it's so deep rooted that, like, that winning culture, if it's sustained, it'll start seeping into your game day experience that much more.
I hope so. Like that was a very tangible thing that I think could be easily reversed. Yeah. It just feels it like cheapens the game, if that makes sense. Like the scoreboard and the upgrades that they've made are actually excellent. Like we were getting red zone updates. It was great. Like during the TV timeouts to see red zone playing, it's kind of nice, right? I mean, you really feel TV timeouts when you're at the game. I mean, it is a long, minute 45 or 2:15. It is
it's been a long time since you've gone to a game. But what usually helps with that is lots of beer, which I don't think was your situation, but
we had a moderate amount.
The time goes by a little bit quicker when the beer.
Yeah, but even listen, they serve Stella at the games now.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, everything has been, the food wasn't terrible. I'm telling you, I was very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. I mean, all of the corrections that Harris did. I mean, even like the increased technology, the scanless ticket scan to get in to the actual stadium. Say that.
There's nobody stopped us to check our parking.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody. I mean, we walked in, we scanned the
Ticketmaster app or whatever.
One of the guys I was with, went to buy us food. He just scanned in and then picked up what he wanted and left. Like, there was no lines.
Yeah.
To get food or beverages. You just.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, I mean, it was. There's no cash accepted anywhere, so there's no bozo trying to like pay with cash and change. Like, it was. I'm telling you, it was a pleasant experience, and all that to say, like, all of that, the product on the field was excellent. I mean, this was Jaden's maybe most complete game, definitely most complete game in maybe 5 or 6 outings now.
He's back to Jaden more than we've seen since before the injury.
He definitely looked that way. I mean, he definitely looked that way. And I'll tell you, when you see him in person, like he looks a little bit bigger maybe on TV than he does in person, right? But when you see him like standing up and like commanding the huddle, for example, like he's not a small guy. Like he's not a small dude. B-Rob is, I mean, he's an actual stocky wrecking ball.
Yeah.
And he played like it. I mean, I think he cleared 100 yards about 2 minutes into the third quarter. And then his spell came in and got 100 as well, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe 90 something.
Something like that. I mean, the rushing attack from the jump, and I don't know if it was Wiley being out and Lucas in at right tackle, and if that's something that might stick with it, because this running attack, it's everything that we had in the beginning of the season during the good games, but like even more.
Yeah.
And I don't think a lot of people pay attention to the Titans because they're the Titans and they don't have that big of a market and they're not playing that well right now. But that defensive front for the Titans, defense as a whole for the Titans, that is a hard team to run on, right? And if you go back last week, the week before, I was scared, very scared about going against that defense because it's a top 3, top 4 defense and all the rankings. And it goes under the radar because the wins aren't there. But that's a hard defense to run on. And not only did we run on them, like we made them look like a JV squad. We decimated them. Like it felt like we were like equal to like the potency of like the Eagles with their running attack. That's how easily
I would say
yards.
I felt embarrassed for the Titans fans that were there.
Yes.
Right? Like that is not what you were expecting. I mean, even diehard Commanders fans were going into this game. Scared. Not to say it was a trap, but like we're expecting a slugfest, a low scoring affair. And it just didn't play out that way. I mean, B-Rob to bust a 40-yard touchdown run on the opening drive. And then, McLaurin being targeted frequently. I watched, and the folks I was sitting around, like randos I didn't know, they kept commenting, Terry's traveling. Like he's moving to the right side. He's moving back to the left. They're putting him in motion. And it paid dividends in the end. I mean, he was wide open on several plays. And look, the Titans definitely self-destructed as well. I mean, so many third and long situations that the Skins got out of because of a ticky-tack or just a poor defensive play. Right. I mean, there was a bunch of that. I mean, and it's nice to see that kind of go, it's puck luck in hockey. I don't know what they call it in the NFL, but sometimes you just, it's better to be lucky than good. You just get some of the
football gods look down nicely on you. But I mean, this what we need to start with is not an apology to Cliff Kingsbury, but like a round of applause to Cliff Kingsbury, because this was the equivalent of the X's and O's version of a middle finger. I think LP sent me some article that stated that. This was Cliff giving a middle finger to everybody talking to Cliff about his offense and his second half of the season offense. And he was like, you want me to move Terry? Boom. First play, move Terry. He gets the catch. You want me to run more? Boom. We're running more. This was Cliff.
Did it take us to tell him it's time to move him around?
No, I don't think it took us. I think it took this. That's what I was saying. This was Cliff's middle finger to everybody else. Like, I know how to run my offense. I'm more intelligent than you when it comes to the X's and O's of an NFL offense. I know my personnel. Like, F all of you. So he did it like 1 or 2 times to prove a point. But Terry played a lot on the left, like as expected. And he still had a huge monstrous game because, as Jaden Daniels was saying, and as Terry was saying, and as everyone was saying, defense dictates where you go, right? And that just happened to be true against this defense, and it worked in our favor, right? And it's just, it's so nice to have this win in such a big commanding fashion. Because
is your social media embargo over? Are you back?
The social media embargo is over. Apparently, I can't go because of Yellowstone, but the NFL media embargo is over, and I can.
Oh, you're not caught up on Yellowstone.
I'm not caught up on Yellowstone.
Don't go, because the internet is only talking about.
But now I'm allowed to watch Good Morning Football and the Rich Eisen podcast and Pat Mack. I can watch all of those guys now, which is great. I've been kind of on a fast with them, but.
So I mean, who's your stud of the game? I mean, we got three offensive players on this list to pick from, and Frankie Luvo. I thought I'll let you go first here, but the options: JD5, B Rob, Terry, or Luvu. Who are you going with? Like who is your standout?
I'm gonna go B Rob, and by extension, the entire run game, O line, RB2, RB3, just everybody involved with the running game. It all started with B Rob. It's nice to see B Rob back and healthy, right? And everybody was kind of worried there that he was going to remain banged up, but no, back healthy. And this running attack, it is the heartbeat of this offense, right? It makes you open up Terry. It makes you spy on Jaden Daniels if he's going to escape. It makes you do everything. It is the heartbeat of this offense, and it was so nice to see it back. And in such a dominant, like we rushed for like 290 something yards. I don't have the stats in front of me, but just something insane like that. It was fantastic.
I think they broke 200 as a team. I think as a team they crossed the 200 plateau. But
yeah,
the
200. But
I'm gonna say I agree with you and everything you said. I think JD5 played a complete game. The numbers don't like jump off the page, and the interception is always regrettable. That was. He started the game, and again, it's different when you see it in person. You can see how high the ball was that was thrown to Terry early on, and then it was thrown to Zach, which went off his fingertips.
Yeah.
But you can also see the speed at which he's letting the ball.
The velocity is back. The
Terry touchdown where he was diving to the ground to catch it off from the left side. That happened like right in front of us. So you can see the zip. The Ertz touchdown also happened right in front of me. Like it was. The zip was there. I mean, that one went a little bit more finesse, but I'm going to give it to Luvu. I thought the defense, like they needed to show that they were capable of dominating defensively a team that they were supposed to beat as well. Will Levis is a terrible quarterback.
Terrible.
And when they went into desperation mode, they were basically running a 2-minute offense for the entire fourth quarter. They were able to move the ball. And some of that's just going to happen. It's situational. You're playing a little bit more prevent, a little bit softer.
Right.
That's going to happen. But I'll tell you, I vividly remember Luvu getting called twice for sacks, but then I pulled up the box score in prep for the show. No sacks.
Yeah.
Where did these sacks go? Why did he take away from?
Yeah, I don't know what the correction happened, but he had his stamp all over that defense. But
all over Dante Fowler too. I mean, he's not on our list here to pick from. Fowler played a complete game.
I think you can't mention the defense without talking about Wags, because apparently it was him in his leadership role the Wednesday before to speak to the entire team. And this is kind of what we've always been lacking and missing in the Ron Rivera era and whatever era. You've never really had that true veteran presence of somebody of the caliber of Wagner.
You had it for a little bit with London, maybe.
With London, yeah, but then there's a big gap.
Yes.
Right. And who was your guy? It was like Jonathan Allen, which no disrespect to Jonathan Allen, but like you haven't been to the top. Like you can't talk to me about the trials and tribulations. You've only been in trials. Like you don't know the other side of it. But when you have Wagner come in and speak to the team and be like, look, this is a rough patch. We dropped 3 in a row, 4 in a row, whatever. This is when you commit everything. And when you see somebody like Wagner who's just a monster, and then he's on that list of linebackers with consistent, like repeated 100 tackle seasons behind London Fletcher. Like you take that seriously. And then that defense with Wagner kind of steadying the ship and him being like the X's and O's, like lining everybody up guy. And then Luvu being the quick twitch, like passion guy. It just works perfectly. And
Duran's name wasn't called, I think, more than once over the PA system. I think it was once. I may be out on Duran Payne.
I think there was a little questioning to DQ during the week as well. I think the team might be out on Duran Payne.
I mean, he got his bag, and then
it's unfortunate.
If you're picking if you're either keeping him, I don't even know if it's worth asking the question. It wasn't.
It's binary, right? Are you going to play like Aaron Donald level, or are you not?
Yes,
and that's what we're looking at, and he is not going to be an.
I mean, he's around and involved, right? But you just don't hear his name. So maybe I'm not out just yet on him, right? But I mean, because he's doing his job, which is allowing others to shine.
Who knows how great Luvu is if Duran Payne's not in front of him?
Sure, of course. I mean, and I think that's fair as well. The team, the kicking woes. I think we need to talk about this too, just a little bit. I mean, they had something going with Seibert. Obviously, he's done now. I mean, I don't even think he's eligible to return this season unless there's a playoff push. But they did leave 6 points, on the field, right, from missed field goals. And there's just this general, like, cross your fingers every time we have to go up there to attempt any type of kick. I'm not sure where they go from here, right? Like, there isn't, I mean, unless the Ravens were to cut Tucker, but even at this point,
no, I don't want Tucker.
Exactly. Like, what do you do at the kicking? I mean,
I'm going to give
just 1 for 2 now.
I mean, I would love to take the Dan Campbell approach to fourth downs and field goals and just say F it and go score. But I'm going to give this 1 week a pass for Gonzalez, right? Like, one of the field goals, it was like a 52-yarder. Like, you should make it, but like it's not necessarily a gimme. So, okay. The other one was like a 48-yarder or whatever. You should have made it, but you did. Like,
I mean, did you see your boy Joey Sly out there attempting a 68-yarder?
Yeah, I did see that. But I mean,
what are we doing?
It's just the kicking is, again, I'm going to go with it again. It's binary, right? You're either hot and you're 100 for 100, or you're in a rough spot, right? Like, that's what it comes down to. I think Gonzalez is good enough that you can ride him without making another change and bringing somebody else in.
Yeah, I don't think there's anyone better out there, right? And I think that's kind of where I'm landing at it at this point, right? Like, unless who out there is better? I mean, the team was already. I mean, they started with McManus, and there was somebody else. Then there was
McManus is, I think, playing pretty well right now. But
he's playing fine. I mean, every time I hear Hopkins go up there, right? I mean, we've had some good ones in the building.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
Graham Gano, Hopkins.
Yeah, all these guys are still active. I mean, but we're not the only team with kicking woes.
Kicking woes, yeah.
Right. So I think you just roll with what you got at this point.
Better the devil you know than the one you don't.
Sure, and you can afford to drop points or leave points on the field when you're just steam. I mean, if you score on your first 4 possessions of any game, any whether they're field goals or touchdowns, you're going to be hard to beat, right? Yeah. So if the offense is clicking, to your point from earlier, it's going to be hard to beat this.
Now, don't miss your PATs.
Sure,
but yes, I'm okay. I'm not.
I think. Yeah, I'm interested to see what's going to happen with Lattimore. I think Lattimore is now looking like he's trending towards a return against his former team. I think that's.
I feel like that was always the plan. I feel like the fan base and the media got really excited, and if he was ready to go earlier, great. But I feel like from a Peters level, I think
You think he had him chalked up for 5 weeks?
I think they were saying, take whatever time you need to recover. Hopefully you're good to go after the bye week. I don't think they thought it was going to get to the bye week, but I think they were prepared.
He's gonna face
his team.
I mean, I don't know who's the best receiver on that team at this point. I'm not even sure.
Scantling probably.
Maybe. So so that's a reasonable tune-up, and then he's still gonna have to deal with AJ Brown at least one more. I mean, AJ Brown, CeeDee Lamb, and perhaps Drake London, right? So, I mean, you're still getting him back.
Some receivers there, yeah.
These are 4. I mean, they're 3 of them are winnable games, in my opinion. I think Atlanta, after their collapse, I mean, they're all winnable games, but the Eagles in particular is probably the toughest of the bunch. But anytime you're playing a division rival, like you can't just pencil in a win. But they should beat the Saints. They should
beat the Saints. Should beat the Falcons. Should beat the Cowboys. It all comes down to this Titans game. Had you not beaten this Titans game, it would have gone off the rails. We would have very fast.
Yeah, we would shoot the podcast into the sun. Like, don't talk to me, because there's no way to get 3 of 4 moving forward, or guarantee 3 of 4. And at that point, you've dropped some very winnable games. And I think we're going to look back at the Titans. I mean, again, they're not a good team, but it's an impressive. It's a good defense,
and your offense steamrolled them.
Yeah, I mean, like, now looking at what we know now, the Bengals win is less impressive because the Bengals have completely fallen apart.
But you also
Arizona win
a very clearly potent offense from outscoring you. So
sure,
you could dice it any way you want.
Sure.
The Arizona curb stomping speaks multitudes now because they're not as bad as we thought they would be.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then even you could look at Monday night's game, right? The way that our offense kind of poo-pooed all over the Cleveland Browns defense. When you look at Bo Nix in that Rookie of the Year conversation and how the Broncos did against it, for a while there they struggled, and then Bo Nix made more evidence for himself that he should be the other conversation piece for Rookie of the Year. But this offense and that offense and kind of these baselines that we can compare to now, we're doing exactly what we should be doing a year ahead of the curve, right? Like nobody should have seen this.
And I've warmed up. I think I've warmed up to this line of thinking as well, right? Like Jaden regressed. That's okay. I mean, he's still really good, and he's still.
But was it regression, or was it just a lot of it was just the injury?
No, I'm gonna say it was regression because it's across the board, right? He's not running for as much. He's not as accurate.
But there was an injury though.
Sure, I'm not saying like he's fallen off. I'm just saying like if you get Jaden of this past week against the Titans consistently, you're going to win more games than you're going to lose.
Fair.
Right? He doesn't need to be the Jaden of the Bengals or against the Bengals.
But if you have the Jadens of this week against the Eagles or the Steelers,
I don't think you win.
If you have it against the Cowboys,
maybe, I mean, the Steelers, you could say that was a very winnable game. The Eagles game, they contained the Eagles for 3 quarters, but like they
10-6 in the late into the third.
But if you recall, the Eagles also missed like two field goals in the first half. Like there was stuff that the Steelers game was a winnable game.
Yes,
right. Like it was a winnable game,
and that was with the most injured version of Jaden.
I'm with you on that too. I agree with you. But there, I mean, yeah. I have this. We have a question coming up here. I mean, we can look at it right now. Like the like from a playoff bound perspective, in the NFC, Commanders, Bucks, or Cardinals. I mean, one of those teams, is going to make it. The Bucks are interesting because I think they're chasing the Falcons, if I'm not mistaken. But Kirk looks like he's again, like you want to talk about wheels coming off.
Yeah.
So maybe you replace Bucks with Falcons or throw the Falcons into this too. I like the Commanders' shot here. I mean, they would lose a tiebreaker, obviously, to the Bucks. They would win it over the Cardinals, and if they beat the Falcons, they would have that tiebreaker.
I would love to see. I mean, it's not going to happen, but I would love for us to climb up the seeding rank and potentially getting a rematch with the Bucks, because Week 1 Commanders is not Week 15 Commanders. I would love to see that rematch. But the bigger conversation about this playoff bound conversation is what's going to happen NFC North, because there's a lot of matchups between Packers, Vikings, Lions. There's going to be a lot of L's that come out that way. And if there's a potential chance for Packers and Vikings to drop and Commanders shoot up, if they do what they're supposed to do, then that playoff seeding becomes really, really important. And what's crazy is start of December, I don't remember start of December us being able to discuss the importance of watching all the other games for playoff seeding.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time. There's been conversations end of December about will we make wild card, but never this early where we discuss other seeding.
Sure, but the Commanders. Okay, so between they hung, I guess, with the Bucks, and you got to think a Lattimore-led secondary will fare better. I mean, they had two.
I mean, Lattimore, Mike Evans is the matchup.
Sure. I mean, and they know each other. There's a lot of history there for sure. And Godwin is not playing because of his injury, right? So, like, you're right. That matchup, I think, would be more of a toss-up than it was at the beginning of the season with an upgraded defense, assuming Lattimore is healthy and
But more so an open offensive playbook that we didn't do anything that week.
Yeah. I mean, nope. I'm with you on that. Falcons, if they beat the Falcons, I don't think they would be scared to go into Atlanta to have to or host them here. I think in both of those scenarios, like that team in general doesn't really scare me. Like Bijan can run, yes, but I mean he's not.
We've faced the running backs.
Yes, the Cardinals is actually the scariest team to me because they are. I mean, yes, you beat them in their building, and I mean you dominated them. Let's be honest, but they can. Like Connor is a good running back. Like they've got pieces there. They play a lot of like desperate ball. So
Yeah, I mean the scary part is Kyler, right? And just we can't do mobile quarterbacks. We just can't.
I'm with you.
But I mean, Marvin Harrison isn't what we thought he was going to be. At least not his rookie year.
Up and down for sure.
McBride is solid as a tight end, but again, you're going to take Luvu and Wagner over any tight end right now. It's not necessarily a weakness like we've had in the past. The tight ends over the middle don't really burn us anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they're scary, but
I mean, Commanders are in control here. Like
you match up well with both of those teams.
I mean, if they handle their business against the Falcons and the Saints, they could afford to drop Eagles, and maybe even Cowboys and still make it in.
I don't want to drop the Cowboys.
I know you don't want to, but I would say you have enough tiebreakers there that you would still be okay, right? Because these are the teams you're dancing with. You'd still be okay, right? Assuming if the Falcons drop 2 more and the Bucs win the South and you have a head-to-head against the Falcons, you're going to they'll be okay. They need 2 more. Like they have to have 2 more.
I will say I like looking at Bucs and Cardinals up there as in the hunt teams. The other in the hunt teams of the Niners, Rams, you're not scared of them. Niners are just decimated with injury.
No, Niners don't scare me. Rams.
Yes. If the Rams get hot right now and win out, which
I wouldn't bet
anybody could do. Like that. If anybody could do it, it's the Rams. I would be terrified.
They can run, they can throw, and they're still stout defensively.
But like the Rams, if they get hot, that would be a team that if they were the 7 seed and they go against the Eagles. If I'm the Eagles, I'm shitting myself. I'm terrified.
You know, because they can get points in bunches.
Yes,
they're well coached. They're disciplined.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And if you don't you're right. Like that's the one team everybody.
Nobody wants them to get hot.
Nobody wants them. And on the
Seahawks, Niners, all of that stuff, nobody cares.
Don't care about the
AFC side is interesting.
Don't care about the Niners. Seahawks don't really scare me either. There's just not much there, but the Rams can do everything just good enough to scare you.
Yes.
On the AFC side, Colts, Dolphins, Bengals, Broncos. To me, this one's easy. I'm not a Richardson guy. I don't believe in the Colts. I just don't. The Dolphins, it just feels like it's too little, too late to some extent. Like they're playing better.
They can't play December football. That's it.
They're not traveling anywhere cold and winning a game. I mean, we saw that with the Bills just a couple weeks ago. Bengals are mathematically alive, but they just, I don't know, at 3-9, you basically have to win.
Are they 3 or are they 4?
Maybe 4. I mean,
they're 4.
They're in the hunt, I suppose, but they would have to win all their divisionals and get a couple more along the way. The Broncos are the easy choice for me here. I think they are. Sean Payton is coaching them really well.
Yes.
Their quarterback is not error prone.
Right.
And they just seem like they're locked in right now. Like they're all in on this running back by committee. Cortland Sutton is a receiver that, no one will appreciate him until he's gone, but he's pretty good.
He's the Terry of Denver, of the AFC.
That's fair. Yeah. Like he's unsung, maybe a number 2 on someone else's, or 1.5. He's not like the A1A.
Like nobody knew what was possible until he got a real quarterback.
Sure. I mean, the flip side is Jerry Jeudy went bananas, absolutely nuts. And the Broncos had written him off completely. And to their credit, I mean, nobody knew that Jeudy was capable of what he was doing yesterday. And it took Jameis Winston. I don't know how much Jameis Winston you consumed yesterday.
All of it. I watched every second of it.
I need more Jameis Winston in my life, man. I need more Hard Knocks from him. He is a. He's living.
Airs tonight, actually.
Yeah, he's living like when people ask about like CTE, just watch Jameis Winston. This is what CTE looks like. It's crazy.
Come on, he's always been crazy.
I mean, did you see him dancing during the video yesterday with him and Knicks, and they were whatever quarterback comparison? Well, he's out there eating the W and dancing, twirling.
You gotta love it. But also, they had 500 something yards of offense against the Denver defense.
Yes,
I love Jameis Winston. I'm all for his comeback. If you're Cleveland, just get rid of the dead weight money with Watson and stick with Jameis and keep going. But talking more about the AFCs, the Bengals actually, they're a little scary, right? They've scored 99 points in their last 3 games, and they lost all of them.
They just can't win.
But it's that defense. But if there's anything that you can get
I mean, did you expect them to get into a shootout with the Steelers?
No.
Who had that on their bingo card?
Nobody had. I mean,
These guys play like 9-12 games, you know,
who
every
had
year.
Browns Broncos on a shootout. But I mean, that Bengals. Here's the thing: in December, the thing to get right, if it's not working, is your defense. It'll get right faster than your offense. If your offense isn't working, you're screwed. Defense, you can get it right faster.
Sure.
So that Bengals team, if you're some of the higher seeds in the playoff rankings, I don't think you want to see that Bengals team figure it out on defense.
Well, you're right, because weather factors in a little bit more, obviously, depending on where the games are being played. The offenses can be a little sluggish. I mean, we saw how many snow games did we see over the last 2 weeks or so, right? Where
Niners
game, the Cleveland game, the Steelers Browns game on Thursday before Thanksgiving. I remember the start of that game. There wasn't a snowflake in the sky.
Right.
By the third quarter, I mean, you couldn't see the field. It was over. And we were talking about this. I love the AI overlay of the numbers.
Yeah, it's a nice addition.
It's a nice addition, that Amazon and I think NBC rolled it out too. It actually doesn't take away from the TV experience at all, right? It actually, I think it enhances it. Obviously, they can't see it on the field, so when they cut to the other angles, it goes away. But I really enjoyed it. Those games, this is why the DC stadium every time it comes up, and people are like, well, we need a retractable dome, so because we want 4 seasons of use and concerts.
Yeah,
and I understand all that, but there is something really nice. I mean, I wouldn't attend a game like Buffalo's.
100% I would. If I had a chance to go to that Buffalo game,
no one's. You're gonna go up there with you, take your shirt off and jump off.
Yes, I would be S-faced. I'd pull an Oshi and drink my beer through my jersey, and then jump off onto a table. 100%.
I mean, I don't think you'd actually do it. Personally, it's too much. It's too cold. You'd be out there with your shirt off. It's
colder it is, the more you drink.
And they're paying fans $20 to clean all the snow off the
that I would never. You couldn't pay me.
Well, they're literally paying people.
I know you can't. You cannot. You can pay me to shovel my own steps. That's why I drive a truck. I don't shovel.
I mean, it was interesting. They kept talking about the new Bills Stadium will be 65% covered.
They're copying Tottenham or whatever.
Yeah, the Hotspur, right? Which is kind of an interesting. So the field is still exposed, and the field will be heated up to 40 degrees.
Okay.
The turf. So, I mean, eventually, it's nice. Eventually,
you're dropping $2 billion. It better be nice.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. But I mean, the amount of snow they get there, it may be.
There's no heating element that's going to survive constantly.
No, and if it turns your field into mud,
yeah,
I don't know if that's any better. So, a couple more questions here. Best team in the NFL. 4 options: Chiefs, Eagles, Bills, Lions. I think there's maybe 1 or 2 others we can toss in here, but this, it's not the Chiefs. I mean, we can go elimination here. For me, it's not the Chiefs. And toss one more out, and then we'll talk about the last 2. Which of the 3 Eagles, Bills, Lions are you tossing?
I want to toss the Eagles out, and I would if Saquon gets hurt, that team is not scary at all. The Bills are scary regardless of if Cook or that other guy get going because of Josh Allen. Clearly, it's the Lions, but that Eagles-Bills debate, you got to give it to the Eagles right now. But
yeah, I'm tossing
Josh Allen over. I mean, Josh Allen's just playing out of his mind.
I hear everything you just said. I don't respect the Bills. I can't respect the Bills.
You don't respect the Bills?
No,
you shouldn't respect the Eagles.
I don't want to respect the Eagles, but I understand that right now they have the best running back in football. They have a top 3-4 quarterback. They have receiving options that are very good, including one that hasn't even played in the last couple of weeks, and their defense has turned it on. The Bills, I understand everybody wants to excuse the lack of a running game because their quarterback is such a stud, but they don't really have a consistent pass catcher or running back. They don't. I don't want to say it's luck because they demolished the 49ers, and if they're hosting games and it's going to be sloppy, they can win 18-12, all winter long. But if they have to go on the road to a Philly, which they don't have to, but if they had to go to Baltimore, I just don't think they have the horsepower to score 40, 50 points. Like, I just don't see it. I mean,
think they do.
I think you're putting a lot of faith into a quarterback who has made errors in big spots consistently over his career.
Not
this season. That's fair. Amari Cooper is not the same Cooper from years past. I mean, he's more of a situational. He's gonna run the 10 yards and catch. But I mean, was that a good play? I mean, it was a great play from the
consumer side.
Consumer side. What a terrible decision to lateral the football in the snow to your quarterback.
But when your quarterback is Josh Allen, you know he's going to truck it in.
He's like, we locked eyes, and I felt it, the energy.
Right, dude. But Josh Allen is probably the only quarterback that's going to lower his shoulder and give the boom to a linebacker. Maybe Jalen Hurts. But Jalen Hurts would also be the type of quarterback to do that and fumble immediately or get a concussion.
He's amazing, but he can't do it. He can't do it for another 6 weeks.
That's what I don't know. Like, I feel like the Bills are more December football capable than the Eagles. Saquon, like, listen, I'm just going to keep putting this out in the universe because I want it to happen. But if Saquon goes down, if he gets one high ankle sprain,
I can't cheer for injury.
I'm not cheering for injury. I'm just saying if he gets a high ankle sprain, if some crazy thing
Josh
happens,
Allen hurts his arm or breaks his elbow, okay, then they're doomed too. Maybe this is a better way. I don't know if I 100% agree with this, but let me just say it. Saquon is a better running back than Allen is a quarterback.
No.
See, and this is where I disagree. Like, Saquon is an MVP caliber running back right now who you can contain for 2 or 3 quarters. Eventually, he's going to get his yards. He just is.
But Allen is exactly the same way.
Allen can be limited by weather. Allen,
if you just saw him in weather and he dominated and he ran all over the field.
He's playing like a fake team. I know our boy 20 is a big 49ers fan, but come on, they're not a real team. They're not a real team.
The Niners.
What do you mean they're still the Niners? They won 2 games in the last 6 weeks. We're still the Niners.
They didn't forget how to tackle, and they didn't forget zone assignments. Like, they're still a good team.
I don't know. I think the Eagles are the scary team.
Through this conversation, first of all, we're not even going to mention the Lions. It's not even. They're so good. It's not even worth mentioning.
Best of these 4, and the Chiefs are clearly the worst of these 4.
So that's what I wanted to bring up. The Chiefs, as we're discussing Eagles Bills, just like a little reminder going off in my brain. They're getting back Hollywood Brown.
Mm-hmm.
So Hollywood Brown plus Xavier Worthy plus DeAndre Hopkins plus Travis Kelce plus Kareem Hunt, and then as Isaiah Pacheco getting back up to speed. It's a lot of pieces coming together late in the season for them to go back from BS wins where the Raiders have a formation flag and fumble and then give them the win to
what a nonsense call.
Oh, so trash. But it's getting to the point where they might be able, you can't forget that Andy Reid is Andy Reid. It's going to get to a point where those pieces,
if those 6 players, you're right, because if those 6 players are targeted or touch the ball 3 to 5 times each, the Chiefs can't be beat. There's just too much talent there.
Yes.
There's too much.
Do not be surprised if the next time the Chiefs see the field, it is a dominating win. The one that makes everyone go, "Oh, that's why they're 11-1."
But they don't play defense, and that's for me like the Eagles are playing
defense,
really good defense.
But that defense is good, and that defense is what kept them undefeated the first half of the season.
Good enough to go into Buffalo, or good enough to go into Baltimore, or good enough to go even right now Pittsburgh.
It didn't change too much from last year, and it was good enough to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. I mean, team 5 for you. Do you have a team on the bubble here? Vikings.
I think I'm going Packers.
See, I think I'm going Vikings. I think the Vikings have consistently shown that they can win. They can win the ugly games. I'm just not a Jordan Love guy. I'm like he doesn't exude confidence, right? I mean, there's really, I mean, they can run the ball with some consistency. The defense is a little shoddy. The Vikings to me are a more complete team. And I think they've beat better opponents. But you're right. You said it earlier. The NFC North is going to have an opportunity to beat up on itself, which could propel. I mean, the Eagles are the biggest winner in that. If the Lions drop 1 or 2, The Eagles,
the Eagles could sit at 1.
One and home field throughout. I mean, they're not. There's a statistical possibility, right, that if the Lions, even if they drop one, that the Eagles could surpass them.
So that brings up a very scary question: is if seeding remains the same, but Eagles Lions swap, and we're still 7. What do you prefer? Do you prefer going to the Link and playing the Eagles?
No, I prefer.
Or do you prefer going to Detroit and playing the Lions?
Anytime you face a division rival, right? It's just a tougher.
You want the Lions as your first playoff game.
I would rather because if you go in and beat the Lions, there's no one else on the roster that's
there's nobody else in the playoff race that you should be afraid of.
If you go in and you at some point, someone has to knock off the Lions. Whichever team that is likely the team that's going to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. I don't see an advantage. Like I think the opposite, maybe the opposite of what I'm saying also holds true. It's a division rival. Everybody knows everybody.
That's what I was going to say.
You have Lattimore hopefully healthy at that point.
Your best chance to get a playoff win.
But they've also got tape on your guy.
It's really hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. Really, really hard.
But you're going into their building, right? You'd be going. There's no scenario where they're coming to DC, right?
No. Yeah, you're going to the Link.
You're going. Yeah, if you're going to one of these two places, okay. If it's a snowstorm in Philly, I'd rather have a snowstorm in Philly and gamble on it. But otherwise, give me the dome and let's.
Now, see, I feel like that this team has already seen the hostility of the Link in a primetime game. They can go in there and not be, I don't know, in awe or whatever shock and awe that they would face. You're used to this team. You know this team. You would have just played them.
I'd rather have Lattimore and St. Jude's on dealing with Amon-Ra St. Brown and whoever, as opposed to dealing with AJ Brown and DeMarco.
The Lions have so many more weapons to outlast our personnel. Jameson Williams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sonic and Knuckles with the running backs, like it's just, and then
But Goff also had a game earlier this season where he threw 5 interceptions. 5.
Yeah.
Okay, like they haven't been in a.
They've also dropped 50 burgers multiple times.
Okay,
multiple times.
My gut reaction between those two teams. I mean, I can't even believe I say it. I think the Eagles are the Eagles are just playing better right now. The Eagles defensively are playing better. They just are. They just are. So the thing with the Lions is they score. They score on their first 2, 3. And to their credit, they score a ton of points in the first quarter. Everybody's chasing, which there's a negative game script, and the defense just picks you apart. But when has the defense had to bail them out of a game? I don't think the Eagles have been relying on their defense. It's honestly, it's very tough. But
doesn't that scare you from facing the offense?
They both scare me. But if I am the Commanders, right, and it's effective, if it's good weather in Philly and good weather in Detroit,
I mean, I would take a dome for sure.
Sure, I think the team that's more likely to maybe be a little bit more lax in their preparation is Detroit. Like, I know their coach may be more in tune and tough on them, but they would have all the pressure on them to beat the Commanders, right? I would take that. Like, you play them tight for 3 quarters and then see what happens, right? The Philly will be prepared. It's a division rival. No, like I personally right now, and it's not a hot take, if I have my options, I would rather face the Lions. I think they are more likely to fall asleep at the wheel.
I think everything you're saying is the exact points I would make, but for Philly. I think Philly would fall asleep. The Sirianni is gonna just be like, "Oh, we beat them twice. We don't care about them. Like, just let's look on to the next game." I don't think Philly can do anything. Here, I'll put it this way. Philly has nothing that they can do that will shock and awe this Commanders team. There's nothing that
I
there's no wrinkle.
completely disagree.
There is no wrinkle they can introduce that we wouldn't have already seen.
Saquon
We
can
know
go for 300 yards. What are you talking about?
No.
Von Smith and AJ had 5 catches last time they played.
There's no wrinkle. You know what their receivers are. You know what their running back is. You know what their quarterback can do.
Death.
There is no wrinkle. The Lions.
Goff scares you more than Jalen? No way.
This season, have you watched?
You're insane.
Go watch Lions highlights of the 2024 season. Have you seen anything?
I saw him he scored 50 points against the Jags, and he beat the snot out of some other team. Sure. But I also saw them almost lose to the Bears because Eberflus can't tell time.
I mean, it's a very good point.
Okay. So, that's a division rival. That's what happens in listen, it's not a strong feeling, but my preference would be to face the Lions. I think they're more beatable. I think if you get them on the ropes, Goff has shown that he will make mistakes, and you've upgraded your secondary specifically to deal with scenarios like this. I also their running game also is less scary to me than Saquon, and that's the toughest part for us from a matchup perspective. Stick all the fatties we have on the line, force Goff to beat you, and Lattimore will earn his pay. St. Juice will take whoever's left over. I just think you can. I think if I'm Joe Witt, I would rather scheme a defense to face the Lions than to face the Eagles. The Eagles can get you they're too talented from they ran 3 pass plays on in the fourth quarter against a really good Ravens team.
Yeah, but with shaky defense, they've always had shaky defense. The Ravens. Listen, is it still Thanksgiving week? Can I give my thanks to Jaden Daniels that we just had a giant deep playoff conversation about
absolutely
about which seed we would rather see with just the assumption that the playoffs are in play?
I mean, we are very much in the thick of it. We need 2 more.
We're 8 wins for 8-4 for the first time since '96.
Yes. But it was so close to.
I was 9.
Close to 9 or 10 wins, right?
I was 9 years old.
Yeah, it's been a long time. But keeping it on the topic here, we had football on Thursday. We had football on Friday. We had no football on Saturday. We had football on Sunday. We had football on Monday. 4 days of football out of 5. Too much?
Not enough.
Yeah, I figured you're gonna do that.
Not enough.
I didn't. Did you actually watch the Friday game though? I was consumed with family stuff. Couldn't watch it. Couldn't watch the Chiefs get.
I don't have family that comes from out of town, so my Black Friday was, go to the folks, help decorate a little bit. But for the most part, I had nothing going on Friday, and you find yourself being like, it's a great day off. But
3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, 3 o'clock rolls around. I got nothing to do. Oh, that's pretty nice entertainment for me.
What was your between the 3 games on Thursday? I mean, the Cowboys-Giants game turned into a game, but I mean, I still can't believe what happened with Eberflus and to lose a game, you have 19 seconds. Here's my problem with the Bears. With what happened with the Bears, there's no 2 opinions about what to do in that scenario. It's 3rd down.
Yes,
you don't clock it and force yourself into a fourth and must have. You don't do that.
Right.
So the only option here is to call a timeout. There's no one on the planet who's ever watched this sport. Maybe Stevie, because he doesn't watch a lot.
There's one person I know that could make that same mistake as Eberflus. His name is Ron Rivera.
Possibly Ron Rivera. But everyone with a brain, there's no second option, FP.
No.
In this scenario, you call a timeout, you draw up your 3rd down play and your 4th down play in the event that you don't convert the 3rd into a 1st. And if you do, you call your 3rd down play and your 1st down play with an immediate clock after, with a clock after, and give yourself enough time to attempt a field goal. This is I'm not a coach. This is how you do it.
Yes.
And they watched 17 seconds just evaporate. And in the end, Caleb threw a ball that was 6 yards short anyway.
The question is, as much as I want to blame Eberflus, and he deserves all the blame,
100% of the blame goes to
100% of the blame. Caleb Williams is also stupid for not having the awareness. But he's calling the only other person that can call timeout there is the quarterback. Call timeout.
But the quarterback is a rookie, and there's 80 coaches on the sideline.
That
Slug
is
on his jersey or shirt and be like, "Hey, coach, take your time out." Or just call it for him.
Completely fair. But I'm saying when you're talking, this is the best rookie QB class we've seen in a while. The top 3 guys, whatever.
4 really.
4.
I mean, May's playing okay.
Yeah, he's okay.
He's not terrible.
I'll give it to you. Fine. But Caleb did so much right that game. He took over in that second half. He made the Lions freak out in that second half. He showed why he went 1-1 overall.
Sure.
Call timeout. Like, have awareness of what's going on in the game.
I'm not putting it on Caleb.
I'm not putting it on Caleb either, but I'm saying
it's 100% Eberflus because this is the same donkey that during the Commanders game,
yes,
didn't care that Terry
didn't protect the sides. Yeah,
18 yards and fell out of bounds. He's like, "Oh no, that was the right play." No, that's not the right play. You're wrong.
Yes,
you're wrong.
He was 100% wrong. But my brain is also going to blame Caleb because Bears fans created this false competition narrative between Caleb or Jaden Daniels.
That's true too.
They created it and we broke them from the Hail Mary game on, and they refused to believe that Jaden is. No Commanders fan is saying Jaden Daniels should have went 1 overall. Only Bears fans are having that conversation, and then they hate us for it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
I'm just saying, call it like if you're like.
But look, Caleb is not in the rookie of the year discussion any longer.
But he kind of is because the numbers.
Okay, he might be kind of is, but in reality, it's going to be Jaden or Bo Nix. That's it. Those are the.
But all I'm saying is if there's let's say it was the Cowboys game that mirrored that ending of Bears Lions. And let's say for whatever reason, Cliff and Dan Quinn have a stroke. They forget to call timeout. You as a fan would be demanding that Jaden knows that he can call timeout there.
Yes, but it's not. I understand.
It's not his fault, but it's his ability
to help. Coach's responsibility to clock manage.
Yes.
So you can tell Jaden, or in this case Caleb, on his way out of the huddle, or when you're calling in the plays, you can call in the play and be like, "By the way, we're taking a timeout, regardless of what."
But just think of the legendary QBs 10 years ago, right? Is Peyton Manning making that mistake regardless of what's happening on the sideline? No. Tom Brady? No. Drew Brees? No.
Kirk once spiked it on 4th down. Like in these high pressure situations, like mistakes are going to happen, but it's the coach's job from the there's no pressure on him, right? Caleb is going out there. He's trying to avoid getting run over and kicked by 400-pound guys and doing this stuff. Eberflus is watching the game just like the rest of us. The difference is he's wearing a headset and talking to the quarterback, but him and you and I are all doing the same thing.
Yeah, the problem is
watching the play.
Eberflus, even after the game, thought that they handled it well. Which I don't know how.
Like, I'm sorry, like you cannot do that. I mean, and the rumors were that the players were basically like they didn't want him in the locker room. Like he was fired after his post-game interview before he addressed the team in the locker room.
Would you pardon him? Is he worthy of a pardon?
No one is above the law, FP. Except sometimes there are people above the law.
Throw a little politics in there because we're missing Stevie.
Stevie, who admitted to watching 0 minutes of football in 4 days, he watched nothing.
Yeah, that's unacceptable.
It just shows you his priorities are elsewhere. It's okay. I mean, that's okay. Things come up, things go. I mean, it's okay. Well, what else can you say? I mean, on the opposite end of the spectrum, I think LP watched every second of football available to him.
So did FP.
Yeah, I think you did too.
LP watched every second of football 4 hours later.
I bet he still consumed it, right? I mean, I actually did my Monday normal routine I did today. On Tuesday, I watched Boomer give me all the highlights from the, on prime time. Just attending the game kind of threw me off. And honestly, TV timeouts are unbearable. I mean, the idea of like watching a Commanders game, even on TV without red zone or something else. Yeah. Oh my goodness. And then you put 60,000 people into a building. There's no cell phone service. Like it says 50 bars on your phone. You can't do anything. Like there's just too many people trying to do stuff. But I'm glad I went. I mean, the Commanders bye week this week, right? So whatever you got going on, go buy your Christmas tree, go do whatever. This is a stress-free weekend. You get an opportunity to watch the league at large, and then we get the Saints the following week. I think we're in New Orleans.
We are in New Orleans.
Yeah. So it's a good.
Is there any marquee games? Oh, Packers Lions Thursday.
Yes, this one. Yeah, we have a huge one. We have a huge one on Thursday. Yep.
Wow.
And then I think the Sunday night game is there's a flex discussion happening about Sunday night right now.
Sunday night currently is Chargers Chiefs. That's a huge game too.
Yeah, Chargers look great, by the way. Chargers handled their business against. I mean, Atlanta fell apart. Kirk had a terrible game, but
the trash game is Bengals Cowboys Monday night that they can't flex out.
Yes,
because of the stupid Simpsons Disney Plus altcast.
Yes,
that's trash.
I mean, it could be entertaining. I mean, the Cowboys have played some. I mean, the game against the Giants wasn't. I mean, it was pretty bad actually. It was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Yeah, but it's a stress-free football weekend for us. And
I'll enjoy it.
Going to New Orleans, Lattimore gets to face his old team. You know, we're a month removed from Super Bowl talk around here, right? But
Falcons Vikings, that's another good one. Big playoff seed implications.
We need the Falcons to drop that one.
Yeah,
we like at this point, you want the Vikings to just keep winning games because they're. I mean, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really impact. There's another team I would love to face. I'd love to go to Minnesota, right? As good as they're playing right now, I basically want to see anybody but the Eagles, and we could discuss this more next week. But that's the one team I do not want to face in the playoffs. I don't want to face them.
Well, yeah, okay. I don't agree. I think I want the Eagles, but
no,
only over the Lions. Everybody else, I don't want.
I'd rather have the Bucks. I'd rather have the Lions. I'd rather have the Vikings. I'd rather go to the Packers. I'd rather have any of those teams than the Eagles. The Eagles are they're too talented, and as terrible as their coach
I actually also do not want Seattle. PTSD. Never want to see Seattle in the playoffs. Do not give me Seattle. Do not give me the 12th man. Please, God, let me do one playoff game that isn't around Seattle.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of PTSD around that. Although they've never faced the Commanders in the playoffs, so you have that.
But I mean, just think 2012 and say, please, God, no Seattle.
Any plugs for you, sir? Anything you're watching you want to talk about? Anything you're planning to watch?
I need to catch up on Yellowstone. I still have to do Lioness and Landman. Cross. If you haven't watched Cross,
it's on my list. You told me. I put it on the list.
Good. You get a Redskin scarf shout out in the start of episode 1 because it takes place in DC.
Is that how you were drawn to it?
That's how I was drawn to it.
Okay.
She's wearing a Redskin scarf. It's a beautiful scarf.
I don't know who she is, but I will. I promise you, I'd check it out. So I would. Landman first episode slow picks up pretty good, and Billy Bob is tremendous. The
ex-wife is hot. She's the whipped cream from Varsity Blues.
Is she really?
Whipped cream bikini from Varsity Blues.
Wow, I didn't connect that.
Yeah.
How much research did you do into that?
It was 5 seconds on Reddit.
Okay. All right.
It was presented to me. I didn't go searching.
I mean, Lioness still number one thing on TV or on streaming platforms right now. Just super well written. Tyler Sheridan, like anything he puts his name on at this point, I think he deserves at least 2 episodes of your time.
Yeah,
because he's crushing. He just crushes everything right now.
Does he just like take the summer off and just write
I have no idea.
All these shows
couldn't be more opposite
simultaneously. Yeah,
I actually love that he uses the same cast. He's pulling a Christopher Nolan. Like you watch Batman and then you watch Inception. The same people.
Yeah,
just different characters. You know, whatever. It's great.
Oh, actually, I started. I have an appreciation for Ted Danson, and Netflix put his latest show on, like the Inside Man or whatever, where he's like an old guy playing detective in like a nursing home. It's the same writer and creator of The Good Place. Do you know The Good Place? Have you ever seen The Good Place?
The doctor guy or the lawyer guy?
No, the one where it's Kristen Bell and is she in hell or is she in heaven? Whatever.
I don't know about this one though.
You're not a sitcom guy.
Like
you're like a TV drama guy.
Yeah, I'm usually a movie guy.
You're not a lighthearted TV show guy.
Yeah, I've recently become a TV show guy. I've for the majority of my life I've been a movie guy.
But that's what I'm saying. You're TV drama because you want a movie cut up into 8 different pieces.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do the lighthearted.
I don't really watch TV to laugh. Although I did the Jewish rom-com. What was that called? That was good.
Nobody Wants This.
Nobody Wants This. Yeah.
That was really good.
I did enjoy that one. Well written. I'm a sucker for well written shows.
It's hard to find those these days.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't need action and blow up sequences. Like I need something that makes me. If I'm gonna watch something that's I want something well written. I think that's where
Cross. Then Cross is what you want.
Okay. Like Suits was great until you get to the back half of the episodes or the season. And it's like, oh, just regurgitating the same.
Suits is great until you broke the glass and you told me that every other line is "goddamn it."
Or or they pick up a blue folder and they know everything about everything. like after season like 2.5 or 3, like it was all down.
Yeah, you say that, but of course we're all going to tune in to the Suits LA in February.
I will watch maybe 1 or 2 just to see, but I also can't do commercials and I don't know. We'll see.
I'm big on waiting to binge. That's why I haven't done Yellowstone yet.
I think the show that got me into shows was actually a long time ago. It was Prison Break. Right. Like, and that was a perfect example of a show that the first season, maybe the first 2 seasons, super well written. Like characters were really thought out. Like this whole like line, this idea that the tattoos are the maps and that, right? And then eventually you get to this like, it's just the president's dead and they're
for me it was 24. The first season of 24.
24 is a good one. That's a good one too. Yeah.
Changed everything.
Then they had like not Sutherland 24 and then they went back.
Yeah, I don't know.
Then like LA exploded or something. I was like,
I don't think I made it past like season 3,
but like it was a clever concept at the time. Like
the real time episode. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good show. I don't even know if I haven't revisited that ever. I don't know if it would hold up now.
Season 1 would hold up. Don't bother after that. The good thing is it's not season to season to season, so you can just watch season 1 as a quick enjoyment.
Yeah, those are all separate. Like you said, they're like basically extended cut movies broken into sections. But but definitely Lioness is the best thing going right now. I mean, unless there's rumors of a Lasso season 4, so I guess
I heard that too.
We'll see if that comes to be. Although season 3 was iffy, but we shall see. FP, we shall see. We're good.
Yep. Go watch your Caps game. They're kicking ass. They're doing great without Ovi. That's my closing.
We'll do that. I'll see you, I think, on Fort later on as well. For FP, my name is Joe. The show is Defeating the Curse. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. You can get the show wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to watch us live, YouTube and Facebook and on X, just search for @Defeating the Curse. If you want to listen later, Spotify, Google Play, the Apple podcast thing, TuneIn, Alexa, basically you name it. Just type our name in, it'll pop up. Defeating the Curse. Thank you for hanging out with us. Until next week, we are out. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Hopefully everyone enjoyed Thanksgiving. We're on to the Christmas season now. Best time of year for sports. Hope you enjoy it. We'll be back next week to talk about the bye week and get you ready for Commanders at Saints. Till then, we are out.